One of the most comprehensive providers of arts education for teens and young adults is OFC Creations here in Rochester, New York. With me in the spotlight today is Eric Vaughn Johnson, their executive director. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to come. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So what does OFC stands for?
So OFC stands for Opportunities for Creativity. We were founded with the idea of children and adults of all ages, any type of artist can have wide range of opportunities, and it's okay for those to change over the years. It doesn't have to stay the same thing. You don't have to decide I want to be an actor for the rest of my life, but maybe you want to try acting, maybe you want to try behind the scenes, maybe you want to try some film elements, and we want to try to make those opportunities come to life.
So is this dance, is it musical theater, is it?
It's a mix of everything. You know, right now we focus a lot on musical theater, performing arts training with voice lessons, dance classes, dance workshops, but we try to offer something that's just a little different. They may be shows that push the limits a little bit, that they don't offer in schools, that you can't perform in high school or middle school. Right. Sometimes it may be projects where you get to work with adults and you get to perform alongside adults that you don't get that opportunity other places. So we try to just offer just a little bit of a different take on performing arts.
All right. Now you mentioned film production. That's new, I think.
So OFC first started off, many people don't know this story, is that OFC started when I was actually about 12 years old, and when I was about 14, 15 years ago now. And OFC started kind of in my basement with a bunch of neighborhood kids that wanted to just get involved with the arts. They wanted to do things that, again, weren't offered in schools. And we were really interested in film. And at that time, nowhere in Rochester had offered film production or anything like that. So we did it ourselves. And so we lived on Old Farm Circle. So that's where OFC comes from, is that it was OFC, Creations. So we competed in like film competitions. We made our own films. We did music videos. We did everything. And we did fairly well with it. And then it slowly became more musical theater film. And then we, made some partnerships around town where they let us perform on stages. And so it's been a wide range of change of based on who's involved. What do they want to do? What do they want to be creative with? And it's brought us to today where we have ranges from ages 4 all the way up through senior citizens who are performing on stage and being involved. And that really started when several years ago Seton Catholic School in Brighton called us and they wanted a drama program. And so our artists who really just was doing that on our own. Some had college musical theater training, some from all over the place. They came together with me to start a drama program for these 3rd through 6th graders at Seton Catholic School. And because it was so successful, since then we've started expanding summer camps and other classes that students across Rochester can take.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. We're very proud and we love the kids too.
Well, and you have a large enrollment in the summer.
We do. So Rock Summer Theater Experience is our summer camp program. This past summer it was 7 weeks long. Wow. And in those 7 weeks we produced 15 musical productions. And so those are full-length shows like Les Mis and Grease and Newsies and Beauty and the Beast, and they're all back-to-back. This past year we had about 500 students, and those kids all get involved. They're involved from costuming to painting to performing in the show. And we're at 3 different locations. This past year we were at Seton Catholic School for our little kids' lyric theater, and then the Kodak Center on Westridge Road.
Oh, the lyric theater, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so all of the spaces kind of keeps us spread out, keeps us so that parents, no matter where they work or where they need to go, they have a spot that they can bring their kid for summer camp and try something different too. We had actually some students who were in all 3 locations throughout the summer. They bounced around from camp to camp. So it opens up, again, opportunities for these kids to have a chance on stage anywhere they want.
And so that's the summer experience.
Exactly.
And then what happens during the school year?
So during the school year it slows down just a little bit because obviously kids get busy with school and we want them to focus on their schoolwork, but we do offer opportunities for them to get on stage, and that's where we get to think a little bit more outside the box. We get to think of opportunities where they can be on stage with adults, where they can try something different. We've offered dance workshops where we go through different Broadway shows, and every Saturday they come together and they do a show like Wicked, and they learn the material and why are they performing and how is this musical put together. So it's more than just getting up there learning how to do a jazz square. It's about why are we dancing and why is that important to make them better performers overall.
You know, high schools all have musical theater productions now. It's a very important part of the curriculum, so
it is.
These students are busy.
It is, and sometimes we find that students don't fit in their high school. You know, that's an ongoing thing anywhere in the United States, is that students don't fit in middle school, or they can't find that right group of friends, or they have some sort of thing going on that prohibits them from taking part in their theater program. And we offer that opportunity where they get to come with us in a safe space. They can be themselves, they can figure out who they are and where they fit in the world. And they can be working with directors who have professional credits. We have directors that are from New York City, LA, one woman who just joined us from Hong Kong, and they come together to teach these students new ways of approaching material in a safe environment that they don't feel like they're with their peers that they have to see all day long. And so that's where, where the heart comes in a little bit of why we do what we do.
Kind of a voyage of discovery then.
Exactly. So we're very passionate about, keeping them involved throughout the whole year, but again, many students can only participate in the summer because of their other activities, and that's okay too.
How many school year productions do you try for?
Oh geez, it changes every year. We do a range of different types of projects too. So in the school year, we do a couple programs for kids, maybe 3 or 4, and then as well as February break and April break camp, where the kids do a show in 1 week. They come together on Monday, and by Friday they're putting on a full show.
So that's a spring break camp. Basically.
Exactly, yeah.
And one in February too.
Yep, one in February for February break, and those are really intense. They're a little bit longer days, and it's a lot to learn in just 5 days. But besides that, we do those adult programs that I was mentioning. We do programs with adults that perform shows for kids. So right now we're running Bibbidi Bobbidi Cinderella. It's a show where the fairy godmother tells the story of Cinderella and from her point of view. And that show features adults and goes from school to perform for elementary kids. So we bring that in kind of like a field trip, touring performance. The kids get to ask questions of the actors. They get to find out how they got their start in acting, and hopefully encourages them, hey, maybe you be on stage one day too. From there, we also do programs with Judith Ranaletta. We partner with her, who's well known as the former vocal and drama teacher from Greece Athena. She's directing at the Century Club right now, so that's one of our locations that we perform. And she directs shows. We just did a production of The Sound of Music, where the cast moves from room to room and the audience moves room to room in this big, beautiful mansion at the Century Club, and get to see the show come around, around them. So The Sound of Music was really cool because if you've been there, there's this huge staircase as you walk in, the Century Club, and it's perfect for the So Long Farewell number that the kids sing. And so the adults all stand, all the audience stands there with the glass of champagne that's been passed out, and they get to be the party guests in the show. It was really cool to see when they get to the wedding at the end of The Sound of Music. The audience is all sitting in this other big ballroom, and when Maria comes down the aisle, the audience all stood up like they were at an actual wedding. So it really was a creative experience that, again, kids got to be involved with. Our brightest students who really wanted to push the boundaries and go a step further, they could audition for this show. And so it took their training that they've had in the summer camps or other programs with us to say, okay, now let's put you alongside professional adults. And many of our teachers who teach these programs also star in these shows in the adult productions. So it kind of creates this machine of, we're performing, but we're also giving back to that next generation to get them excited about performing too.
That sounds a very unique project that Judith has developed. Yeah,
and it was all her idea. And when she brought it to me, I said, this is exactly what we do. We want to make people's dreams come true. We've had a lot of local authors come to us and say, hey, I've written this show. We want to get this produced. How do we make that happen? And is it always a perfect fit? Not necessarily, but we want to try to put them in the right path to make that happen. If we have the artists or the students who want to help with it, let's get them involved and make more of it happen.
Fostering the creation of new work.
Exactly.
And how about directors who want the experience of directing?
Same thing. We have a lot of positions for assistant directors, a lot of times interns too. We do a big internship program in the summer as well as throughout the whole school year, where interns can come to us and try directing, try costuming, try set painting. And then they get to say, that's not right for me, and try something different. And that's okay to, again, change your mind partway through. But yeah, new authors, new directors, anybody can come to us and say, I have this project, I'd like to do it, how do we make it happen?
Right.
And we just have to get creative to do it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, do you have dance workshops, for instance? And, how do they learn the individual disciplines?
So we do a wide range, and it's kind of broken up into different semesters to an extent where in the fall we do a range of dance workshops that are on every Saturday.
I see.
We have voice lessons going on about 6 days a week where students can sign up and do a half an hour, hour-long lessons and review their materials that maybe they're working on for an audition or they're working on just to keep up their talents. We do acting classes at Seton Catholic School where we do the shows in the spring. We also come in the fall and run a Glee Club program. And the idea with that Glee Club, the musical theater club as we call it, the kids get a chance to work on acting, singing, and dance. In a low-stress environment, they pick a theme. So maybe it's the 1960s. And they sing songs from the 1960s, and they do a short showcase for parents and friends at the end.
Right.
But it's really focused on how do we perform, how do we sing out loud, how do we have that confidence so that when we get to the spring show, we get to those auditions, they're ready. They feel more confident about it. So it creates a full year program where they get to really dive into the arts.
Well, congratulations. And so it seems as though they might do better in their in-school productions then if they have that experience.
They might, and that's the hope, is that they have that confidence that even if they've had a bad experience once or twice because they didn't get along with somebody or they didn't get the role that they wanted, they can try again and say, okay, let me put my best foot forward now.
And the socialization is so important at those ages too.
It is, and you make a lot of friends, you meet a lot of people, and we have a lot of kids that come to us day one not knowing anybody, but by day two, by day three, they're with people at lunch, they're hanging out, they're getting to know each other, they're making new friendships, and by the end they're devastated to leave each other because they've put together a whole show in 1 week or 2 weeks, which is tough to do.
It's an intense experience.
It is. It is.
So, back in my parents' day, almost every young girl wanted to dance. And you had to be a triple threat and sing and dance and act. And think of somebody like Fred Astaire who grew up doing it all. And so is that the model then?
It is to an extent. We're by no means a dance school. And, I was not a dancer growing up. I'm still not a dancer. But, there needs to be opportunities in the area for students who want to get a little bit farther along in their dance experience without going to a ballet school, without going to a school where they feel like they're way behind, but they just need a little bit of adjustments. How do they get better without being overwhelmed or filling up 6 days a week with dance classes? We want to be able to just offer them supplements of what do they need to become better.
Right.
And so that's where we come in again, taking each student as its individual person. Nobody learns the exact same as somebody else. So we kind of meet with a student, we see what they need. As they go from teacher to teacher, we all kind of talk, because we see each other all the time in rehearsals and things, and we try to update each other on how can we help the student become better, and how can we help them become a better performer or a better individual too. Where can we help them in their overall experience.
Well, now, who funds OFC Creations?
So that's a great question. So we work a lot of tuition as well as ticket sales for the different productions, but also we have a lot of supporters who want to help with scholarship funds. We run a program at Word of Inquiry School downtown. It's one of the city schools, and we do their drama program where we come in, and similar to Seton, where we run their theater program. And those students tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and so we have a lot of students from the city as well as suburbs that may not be able to afford summer camps or classes throughout the year or keep up their performing, but they have wonderful voices and they have wonderful presence and they want it so bad. And there are a lot of generous individuals around town that want to see these kids succeed. And so we've created a OFC scholarship fund where we can help students still be a part of it. We, knock on wood, we haven't had to turn anyone away because of financial reasons. There's always been somebody there to help and make that possible for them to be part of that experience. And we do fundraisers throughout the year, showcases. We just did a staff intern showcase where all of our staff performed songs where people could come see them, and all the money went towards helping kids take camps and classes.
That's great. Now, do you direct the productions yourself, or how are you involved otherwise?
So I do many productions throughout the year. I direct summer camp. I'm bouncing around between different locations. So we have a very talented group of staff, constantly changing too, because people are going going off to New York or getting back from New York or moving to Chicago. And so it's constantly changing, which makes a great experience for the kids to not feel like there's favoritism, where they get to come and feel like, okay, I don't know these 3 directors. Maybe I know one of them. I know a lot of the kids here, but I don't know this team. And the team really gets to say, I don't know any of them. I'm going to base this off of talent and based off of their audition. And that makes it easy so that not the same kids are getting the same roles every time unless they're earning it and they're deserving it from their auditions.
Now, speaking of auditions, how do youngsters become involved? Do they have to audition for your shows?
Great question. So our programs, like during the summer or our kids programs throughout the year, they can go right onto our website and they can register for any of our programs. They can sign up.
Tell us what that website is.
Yeah, so ofccreations.com is our main website. We have separate websites for our summer camp program, rocksummertheater.com, and then for our touring theater company, which is storybooktouringtheater.com. But those programs, they can go on, they can sign up, and they're automatically in the show. And the first day of the program, they do auditions and they get placed with who they're going to be. Maybe they're going to be the lead princess in the show, but maybe they're playing 6 different parts where they're bouncing around in different numbers. And then for the other shows, like The Sound of Music, like shows that Judith's directing, or our other creative projects, we post that right on our website, on the audition hotline on Facebook, where people can just see, they can find out the information, what to prepare, and then they come on out, give us their best stuff, and then we pick a cast from there.
And how about parents? Are there backstage parents?
Yep. So there's roles for everybody. You know, again, there's a lot of parents that have performed in their high school or performed back in the day, and they want to now get involved too, because they see their kids performing there.
Right.
So that's why we've created more of those family shows too throughout the year, where kids and adults can be in them. You get to perform alongside your child. You get to maybe help out backstage with costuming, and sometimes they get bit by the bug and they want to be even more involved by that point, and then they move into a different leadership role. So there's kind of an opportunity for everyone.
That's wonderful. And on the tech side, I mean, there's a lot with sound and lighting and stagecraft.
Yeah, and you know what's great is that in this day and age, things are constantly changing. You know, what we were using 3 weeks ago is not the same that they're using right now in terms of lighting and sound equipment. And so we try to get some of the best designers in the area to come in and design the shows, and to lighting design and do the sound, and to make sure that the kids are set up for success with their performing. But also we've been able to find a lot of MCC students, Nazareth students, Geneseo students that come in and they get to run lights. And so during this past summer, we had 2 interns do the lighting for all the summer camps. And so that was about 6 shows each that they had to put together. They had them for their resume, 1 per week basically. And that was a great opportunity for them to see it from a different angle, do it really quickly, but still put on something that they're proud of and can include in their portfolio.
Well, they're helping them grow as well.
Yeah, we're trying. You know, it's a lot of moving parts, but I think what's really great is that in a time of a crunch time, in when you know that you have to get it done, everybody steps up for the challenge.
Right.
You know, you don't have to push them that much. It's they want to do it. They want to be there because we love what we're doing.
And one of the things that people are sorting out at this age is their gender identity. And I noticed that in some of the productions that you have productions directed toward that.
Exactly. We do an LGBT show series each year, and that's we've been doing for quite a while, where we do a show, one to benefit Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. We do a fundraiser or 2 per year where we auction off Broadway merchandise, signed posters from Broadway casts to raise money. And the last couple of years, we've raised about $10,000 for the fund. But those shows are usually geared towards LGBT issues or self-identity issues, and we bring together people from across Rochester to help do after-show discussions, post-show talkbacks, whatever that might be, to make it more of an experience for everyone involved. So we bring in, we've brought in drag queens from across across the world to do performances. Coco Peru, Miss Richfield, Ginger Minge, people that have a name, and a lot of them that haven't been to Rochester before. They've been to Buffalo, they've been to New York City, but not to Rochester. So that's definitely something that's been lacking in Rochester, and it helps our students when they're walking through the halls and they're grabbing their backpack or they're filling up their water bottle. They see this poster, and maybe is it not appropriate for a 4-year-old to attend, but they get to see that it's out there, and they get to see that it's something that they could experience. And sometimes our high school students get involved with helping with the raffle, and they help with the fundraisers, and they're able to help usher. So they get to be involved with it, and almost see a little bit behind the scenes of how that all goes together. So we try to encourage that we're welcoming of anyone.
And they're, after all, polished professionals, and they're very serious about their work.
Exactly, and it's so funny to see how it's different from across the road. You know, some of these performers are from New York, or they're from Florida, or they're from California, and how they get ready for a show. How do they do a quick rehearsal? And the kids that are there early to get ready and set things up, they get to see that, and they get a little bit of a glimpse behind the scenes.
Now, are you especially proud of any graduates who've gone on to stellar careers, for instance?
There's some great people that have been involved with us from several years ago. Tamar Green, who did The Wiz with us several years ago. We did it as a fundraiser for Facing Race, Embracing Equity, and he played the Wizard, was incredible, and he's been performing in Chicago of Hamilton, and so he's been performing for several months, that long run in Chicago. Huge, great role. And then Jennifer Donalfo, she is performing the role of Tracy right now in Hairspray, and she was with us. She played Nina in The Heights. So we've had tons of people from over the years that have really gotten bit by the bug, or we were a step in their career, and now they're off doing something really special out there and performing hundreds of thousands a day or a week.
Isn't that great? Now, Latino theater is strong in Rochester. Are you connected with them in any way?
It is. So Rochester Latino Theater Company, we partnered with them back in 2014 when we did In the Heights. And it was a wonderful production. It was really great to see the community come together again for something like that. We had a lot of high schoolers in the show, a lot of adults as well, where we connected people from across Rochester together. Adele Fico from
the Rochester School of the Arts.
Yeah, exactly. She played Abuela in the show. It was her return to the stage. And so it was a great experience because Rochester Latino Theater Company came in and really made it an experience for the cast and for the audience. We did food testings and tastings from what they would be having actually in the Heights. We served empanadas in the show to the audience, and they could smell it throughout the entire production, feeling like you're actually on the streets of New York. And so that was a great relationship that we've continued, and now we're doing In the Heights again for our teenagers. It's specifically a show that you can sign up for, and the Rochester Latino Theater Company is again involved with it, helping those students learn how does it all happen? Why do we perform this show? Why isn't it not just another musical? What makes this so important? So we do partner with them quite a bit, and hopefully those relationships help those students and those people find out about us and continue to perform and get into voice lessons or get into dance classes and continue their craft, because we never know how far they can go, in their performing career.
Well, that's wonderful. So now, looking down the road, maybe 2 to 5 years, what do you see for OFC Creations?
It's hard to say because we've had such rapid growth since starting in 2005. Things change every year. Things that are happening in the community, things that are needed. We don't know. What students want to be doing, and new shows that are coming out or new projects. We've done some where we've done like Singing in the Rain, and we were able to incorporate the film component of what we used to do to the theater component, because they show the silent movies in the show. So that's a great opportunity for us to think outside the box, and we don't know what those opportunities are going to be until they present themselves to us. So we're always open to new collaborations, new ideas, things that people want to see done.
I see. Now, speaking of that, if I have a production that I need video services for, do you offer that?
Sometimes, we're trying to start that back up and get that going.
I see.
So if there are students interested in doing film, again, it's hard because there aren't too many areas in Rochester that are offering film production for students. RIT obviously does for college-age students, but getting students at a younger age interested in video work is a challenge, and something that we're trying to help streamline.
It's important in a town like Rochester with Kodak history.
Right, exactly, and that's where one of our campuses where we perform. So we have a lot of film element at at Kodak.
That's fantastic. Now, if people want to become involved as supporters, how do they find you, and what kind of support do you welcome?
So they can find us right on our website, ofccreations.com. They can also find us on social media. We're pretty active on our Facebook page, especially during the summer. We post daily, several times a day, with camper photos, things that are happening, and they can just stop by. They can come see a show. We announce our season pretty far in advance, but also we leave chunks open because you never know what's going to happen. You never know when a show presents itself to you that's new. Frozen became available last spring, where obviously it's a huge hit and kids love it, and we were able to be one of the first to get approval to have the rights.
Oh my.
So we were the first in Rochester to produce Frozen, and we had an open slot in our season and plugged it right in last minute. So that's why our seasons, it's spaced out, but there's always the opportunity for, hey, here's something coming up real soon, get your tickets.
That's great. Now, how much staff do you have? Do you do this by yourself?
So I do obviously a lot of the office elements just to keep everything rolling along, but none of it would be possible without our teachers and our artists. And so we've, this past summer, I think we had about 40 teaching artists, all people that come to us, they teach a program, and that might be the last thing they do because they go off to New York or they go off on a cruise ship and they start performing there. But there's people that stick with us a long time too, where they're directing every few months, they take a break for a little bit and then they're back to it. So it's constantly changing, but I would say about 40 is who's constantly involved.
That's wonderful that they can see them maybe when they start at age 4, and then as they reach 17 or 18 and they've been in your program every summer.
It's funny to watch. We had a student about 4 years ago who was very young and wouldn't say anything. She was probably about 4 years old, and she was her first theater opportunity probably. And then this past summer, she was the lead in her show, and she's out there and she's singing, she's leading the rest of the cast along, and it's the same director directing both programs, and she's like, oh my gosh, I forgot that she's so talented and that she's ready for this opportunity. So it is fun to see them grow over the years and decide what paths they want to go in performing arts.
And maybe even see whole families.
Yeah, and then the next sibling comes up and you see how they interact with each other, and it's really interesting to see where their passion lies.
Right. Now, do you have a board of directors, for instance?
We don't, but we do have an advisory board, people from the community, that, again, constantly changing because we want to keep it fresh, we want to keep people engaged, and so there are people from the community that are focused in tech direction, maybe education, from different elements that can say, hey, have you tried this? And that's kind of where we get some of our creative ideas and how we deal with situations that are unique and we haven't had to work on before.
All right, that's fascinating. Yeah. Well, and what do you see over the horizon for yourself now? You continue to direct? And
I love directing, but I also love making sure that opportunities are open to other people. So if we can find an assistant director who's ready for that next step into a bigger leadership role, that's important for us too, because when you end up doing it all yourself, then when you're done doing it, who takes over? Right. So we're trying to, again, build that next generation of not only performers, but behind the scenes people that can lead generations to come too.
Well, that sounds very fascinating. Congratulations on such a comprehensive and energetic and busy program.
Thank you. We love what we do. Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. My guest in the spotlight has been Eric Vaughn Johnson. He's the executive director of OFC Creations, one of the busiest and most comprehensive arts education companies available here in Rochester, New York. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thanks for having me.
In the Spotlight is a production of Penfield Television with sponsorship from Nokan & Associates, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Advisor. If you enjoy this program, please find us on Facebook, like and share the program, and find our full playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.